All right. Good morning, everyone. We're about to get started. Thank you so much for joining us here today. My name is Jodie Tate Clark, and I'm Business Facilitation Manager here at Agro-Investment Corporation. And I'm so happy that you're able to join us for another webinar in the series on smart farming. Today, we have with us Jamaica Tower Farms, which fits so well within the theme. And today's topic is driving higher yields through innovation and alternative farming solutions. Our presenters today are Carrie Gray, which is Director of Operations at Jamaica Tower Farms, as well as Mr. John Mark Clayton, who is CEO of Tower Farms. How we normally do our webinars is that we allow the presenter to make their presentation, and then the last 15 minutes of the hour, we will leave those for questions and answers. This is to ensure that, we have a smooth process. So if you have your questions, we're going to ask you to just jot them down or put them in the chat area of Zoom, and then we'll be able to gather those questions, or we'll open the mic for you to ask your questions if you would prefer to have it done that way. All right. So without further ado, we're going to welcome our presenter here today, Miss Carrie Gray. The floor is yours.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thanks for the welcome. I'm happy to be here to share some information about Jamaica Tower Farms. My partner is online as well, John Mark Clayton, who we'll be hearing more of later on. Right? So let's get started with the presentation. All right. So I hope everyone is able to see my screen, right? All right. So let me just start off by going a bit about Hurricane Melissa. So when Hurricane Melissa had passed through, it did more than just damage crops, right? It actually tested our farmers and our communities, our food security. But in every challenge, of course, there's an opportunity. And today is not just about recovery, it is about transformation. And it is about how Jamaica Tower Farms is helping to rebuild smarter using innovation, using vertical farming and practical smart solutions to strengthen our agricultural resilience. And this is not just about replacing traditional farming. That's not what we're trying to do here. We are embracing it, we're empowering it, and we're supporting it, we're protecting it. So, as I said, Hurricane Melissa severely impacted farmers through crop loss, soil damage, and infrastructure destruction. Fields were flooded, soil was washed away, livelihoods were disrupted. And recovery really means, well, it really requires innovation. And Jamaica Tower Farms was built around one goal: to reduce risk, to protect yield, and create control systems that allow farmers to continue producing even after a disaster. So, recovery after a hurricane is not immediate, it is layered and it is costly. And for many farmers, it is uncertain. First, we have to face long crop cycles, recovery cycles, and when crops are destroyed, farmers cannot simply just restart overnight. Many crops take weeks or months to mature, and during that time, of course, there's loss of income, there's disrupted supply chains and delayed food availability, hence the high rising cost the other day. And secondly, there are high replanting costs. So we're talking about seeds, seedlings, fertilizer, labor, and all of this must be reinvested. For farmers who have just suffered these losses, finding capital can be one of the biggest obstacles. And thirdly, we have to deal with the damaged soil. So flooding and erosion wash away nutrients and topsoil. Um, Compacted or contaminated soil can take months or even seasons to rehabilitate, and the very foundation of farming is weakened. And finally, there is the climate unpredictability, because Hurricane Melissa is not an isolated event. Weather patterns are becoming more intense and less predictable, and farmers are now operating in a reality where risk is constant. These challenges remind us that recovery cannot rely on traditional systems alone, and hence we must strengthen agriculture with solutions that reduce the instability and build resilience for the future. So, what is smart farming? Smart farming uses technology and control systems to improve efficiency and productivity. We're talking about control growing systems, water efficient technologies, precision nutrient management, optimized space utilization, all of which are features of our tower farm. So let me tell you a little bit about Jamaica Tower Farms. We officially started in June 2024 with a clear mission to introduce practical, scalable vertical farming solutions that strengthen food security and agricultural resilience across Jamaica. And we want to expand within the Caribbean region. So we are a vertical farming solutions provider focused on innovation driven agriculture that works both in urban and rural environments, residential and commercial use. Our systems are designed to adapt, whether it's in a backyard in Kingston, which is where we are located in Kingston, Havendale, or a school in St. Anne, or a larger rural farming operation. So it could be anywhere. So the goal is simply to grow more, using less space, reducing the risk, and increase productivity. And we're not just selling towers, we are delivering solutions. We have commercial setups to include the towers and the automated irrigation. So that is on a commercial scale, right? And then we also have residential units, which are standalone units, perfect for homes, for those who would like to start off with a one tower, right? So some of our services include seedling production, and because we grow in Rockwool, it's a soilless system. Educational tours. So we want to inspire and expose the communities to this type of smart farming. We do training and consultation, equipping individuals and organizations with the knowledge to operate successfully. We do setup and installation, providing a complete system deployment, and of course, we provide ongoing maintenance and full support, because sustainability requires partnership, not just equipment. And Jamaica Tower Farms represents a shift from being vulnerable to resilient, and from traditional limits to innovative possibilities. So our towers are BPA free, made of BPA free materials that use nutrient water instead of soil. We're also using 90% less water because the water is being recycled, and we can grow over 200 variety of crops on the towers. So let's zoom in on some of these key features. So these units can scale. You can start from 5 pots, which is 20 plants, go right up to 13 pots, 52 plants in a square meter, which is a 3 by 3 foot space. So it grows upward, our system grows upward instead of outward. And the multiple planting levels allow farmers to maximize production per square foot. So another thing, imagine growing 18 pepper plants on one tower. So compare that to growing horizontally, that would require more space. And then for leafy greens, you can grow anywhere to from 20 to 52 plants in that same space. So we use BPA-free plastic, food grade, to ensure crop safety. Its durability and UV resistance ensure long-term performance under Jamaica climate conditions. Because we know we have when the sun is sunning, it suns. So our system as well includes stainless steel rods for structural strength. There are towers that do exist, but they don't have that stainless steel rod that provide the durability and the corrosion resistance to provide that stability during harsh weather. So during the cold front the other day, we were able to survive that. I mean, the winds were crazy, but had the stainless steel rods not been in there, then we could imagine what would happen. So our nutrient mix, our NPK nutrient system ensures plants receive precise nutrient, and it consists of macronutrients, which is needed in larger volumes like nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, etc. And these really form the building blocks for plant structure and are integral for their metabolic processes. And this accelerates growth cycles and reduces fertilizer runoff. And then you have macronutrients now, like iron and manganese, zinc, etc., which are necessary in minute quantities. However, their role is just as vital um, in the whole process of maintaining the overall health and vitality of the plant. And these nutrients are no different from what is found in the soil. So it's the same nutrients that are found in soil is what is in the water. We don't use fertilizers. We don't even use pesticide harsh pesticidal treatment because we use everything organic. We use neem oil to treat to do preventative maintenance on a weekly basis. So how do tower farm work? So I'm gonna just run through real quick. So the water and the nutrients circulate continuously, reducing waste and maximizing the plant absorption. And everything begins with the water quality. So that's why we have a reverse osmosis system. Why? Because consistency matters. And when you remove impurities, you control the starting point. And control is everything in smart farming. So after purification, the water enters our nutrient mixing stage, and we use a dosatron, which automatically injects nutrients A and B, which is the micro and the macronutrients solution in precise ratios. So there's no guesswork, there's no manual mixing, no inconsistency. And from there, the nutrient solution is stored in a gravity tank. And here's where it gets efficient because we do not need to use a pump to feed the 100 tanks. Everything is gravity fed. So this reduces energy use, of course, it reduces mechanical failure risk and improves long-term sustainability. Now, each individual tower contains approximately 20 gallons of nutrient solution. So now, after the water is delivered from the gravity tank, the base of each tower can hold 20 gallons of water. And there's a small pump sitting in the base of the tower that lifts the nutrients or pump the nutrients to the top of the tower and then trickles it down through the root system. So but here's the critical part. The pump is not on continuously like regular hydroponics. This is aeroponics where the pump is on 3 minutes and then 12 minutes off because the roots do not just need water, they need also oxygen. And that off cycle allows for the air exchange. So there's a perfect balance of air and moisture, and the plants absorb only what it wants. Not too much, not too little, just optimal. And this is what we call precision agriculture. So now that you understand or hope you understand how it works, let's talk about what really matters. Cleaner water means fewer contaminants. Fewer contaminants mean healthier root systems and stronger plants. Second, the dosatron automatic mixing system. Every plant receives consistent nutrients, and consistency produces predictable harvests. Now, each tower has its own 20 gallon reservoir, which creates system independence. So, if one tower needs maintenance, the others keep operating. And that's resilience built into the design. Know the timed pump cycle. We are 3 minutes on, 12 minutes off. And why is that powerful? Because roots need the oxygen just as much as they need water, and continuous water suffocates roots and can cause root rots. And the time cycles strengthen them. So stronger roots mean better nutrient uptake, faster growth, higher yield, better quality produce. And here's a big one: the plants only really absorb what it needs. No overwatering, no excessive runoff, no wasted nutrient water, which means lower input cost, higher efficiency, more profit per square foot, and vertical stacking yield per square foot increases. Well, you have an increase in yield per square foot while conserving water and accelerating harvest cycles. And this supports higher revenue generation, even on limited land space. What can grow on the crop? So these are actual pictures of what grow on the towers. You can grow over 200 variety of plants, all lettuce varieties, kale, pak choy, cabbage, herbs, basil, mint, all the things that you have to import, you can grow it right on your tower. Scotch bonnet pepper, sweet pepper, tomatoes, cucumber, eggplant, escallion, strawberries can grow. Once you have a nice school area, you can grow your strawberries. All of these that are listed have grown on our towers already. So once again, tower farming complements traditional farming, where we are diversifying the production and reducing the risk. So as we look ahead, I mean, recovery must be intentional and it must be structured, it must be strategic. And first, we must integrate innovative farming systems into national and local recovery programs. Smart farming solutions should not just sit on the sidelines, they should be a part of the rebuilding framework from the beginning. And secondly, we must develop strong public private partnerships. Government, private sector, educational institutions, agricultural stakeholders, we all must collaborate to scale innovation responsibly and effectively. Third, we must provide training and technical support, which is what we do. Technology alone is not enough because farmers, youth, and communities need the knowledge and the confidence to know how to operate these systems and to sustain them successfully. We must also embrace innovation in agriculture, not as a trend, but as a necessity, because the climate realities demand that we modernize how we grow food. And to truly secure our future, we must strengthen resilience through diversification. So a nice hybrid model combining traditional and soil farming with vertical system reduces risk and increases stability. And finally, we must empower community and youth engagement. The future of agriculture depends on attracting the next generation. And when young people see innovation, technology, I mean, they are so into technology and entrepreneurship in farming, they see opportunity. And if we act strategically, recovery becomes more than a restoration, it becomes a transformation. So we cannot stop hurricanes. I mean, Hurricane Melissa reminded us how vulnerable agriculture can be, but it also reminded us how strong we are. And the question is no longer whether we will rebuild. The question is how we will rebuild. And we cannot control how we prepare ourselves. Sorry, we can control how we prepare ourselves. And at Jamaica Tower Farms, we believe recovery is an opportunity to grow smarter, to waste less, to produce more, to empower communities, and to protect our farmers from the uncertainties of tomorrow. And this is not about replacing traditional farming, it's about reinforcing it because the future of Jamaican agriculture must be climate smart, innovation driven, and resilient. So together, we can transform recovery into long term strength. So, right now, I am going to let me just end this slideshow. So, I am going to give you an actual tour of our farm. I'm currently on the farm, so I'm going to switch devices so we can head outside. All right. So we're we're outside. Right now you're looking at our sealing station. So as I said, we use rock wool to grow all of our seedlings, and it's made from volcanic rock. There's an alternative to sponge if it is that we're talking about you know using something else, which is fine. So what we're growing right now, we have escallion, we have romaine lettuce, we have different varieties of lettuce, we have cilantro, parsley, um, we have kale, cherry tomatoes, cucumber, cauliflower. We'll all be putting those on the tours pretty soon. So the automatic irrigation system that we have, which allows us to travel, 2 weeks to a month at a time, because we have 95 jobs separately from running 100 tower farm. And we start off with the reverse osmosis system, as I was speaking about, which allows for water purification. So after the water is filtered from NWC water, then it is stored in a tank. Then right after, nutrients A and B, which is the micro and macronutrients, the dosatron mixes A and B with the nutrient water and stores it in the gravity fed tank. And this gravity fed tank runs right to the very top through these supply tubes um, to feed each tank. So this is the water that comes from the gravity tank, and this pressure is the same right up to the very top that sits in this reservoir. So if the water runs low, there's a floater valve in there that pulls in water and allows for automatic top up. So just to look on the outside, here's the floater valve that pulls in the water and keeps the water level. And the pump sits at the base, which is attached to the tower. So we're looking at scallion that we have on the farm. Um, of some iceberg lettuce coming up. So this is harvesting for us. So we don't have to be digging, getting our knees messy or anything like that. So I'm just gonna take out a bunch. So this is some of our scallion that we grow. We supply to supermarkets. And when you see roots looking like this, you know that your plants are getting the right balance of water and nutrients for optimal growth. All right. I'm going to take you over to the pepper tower that we have. So this is a grow cage that is used to support the vine crops like the cucumbers and the tomatoes to offer extra support. So right now you have some. You could see that the sweet pepper is even starting to bud. So pretty soon we'll have some. And so that same grow cage is within this pepper tree that we have 18 pepper plants on. So we're able to grow everything vertically, of course, using less space, right? So we have. So let me just look through. All right, so we have our peppers here. We have some peppers there. So yes. right? So cabbage as well can be grown on the tower. So these are at an early stage, but the leaves get expansive. So we do every other hole when we're putting them on the tower. So just walking through the farm, as I said, it's 100 towers. We have escallion, we have romaine lettuce that's on the tower for a week now, and we'll go up to the top. We'll see basil. So we have some basil growing. We did a clipping already. These basil plants actually have been on the towers for going 4 months now, and we trim them and we keep them kept so we don't have these humongous trees and every because we're able to clip them for the past 4 months. We get our production every 2 weeks from these plants. So we have an eggplant here coming up, right? We have our cherry tomatoes coming up as well. So that's an overview of the farm. Um, so I mean that's the tour of the farm. So we're open to questions now.
Okay. Thank you so much, Carrie. You actually gave us way more than we asked for. We're so happy for that tour. All right, so we're going
Okay.
to get into
So
question and
we
answers.
do offer.
Go ahead.
Okay, so this was a virtual tour, but we do offer in-person tours as well. Info sessions, we have those tours, and we also have hands-on practical tours to actually learn how to build a tower, how to plant, and all those different things. So, I mean, anything that you need to know, we're here to teach about it.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, so we're going to get into the question and answer sessions, but two key takeaways for me from this presentation is that climate conditions require that we modernize how we grow our food. Very important. And technology does not replace traditional farming, but complements and reinforces it. And as you can see, the towers, they're able to grow a variety of crops. I jot down kale, cherry tomatoes, cauliflower, cabbage, hot peppers, romaine lettuce, basil, escallion, eggplant, and so much more. So we're going to get into the question and answer sessions. You can, if you want to put your questions in the chat, you're able to do so now. We'll collect them and then we'll read them to Kerry or John Mark and they'll be able to respond. Or you can raise your hand and we'll be able to open your mics and allow you to ask your questions directly. So the preference is yours. So if you don't want to speak, you can just put the questions in the chat. All right. So I see Jody hand is raised. So
Great.
we're going to allow her to
All
ask
right.
her
Thank
question.
you. Good morning, fellow colleagues, and to Jamaica Tower Farms, John Mark. I had the privilege of having him come and do a tour. So here we are, 2024 to now. We are in here above all things to make money. This is also a business. What's your profit margin? What's the minimum investment that we would need to put out to start earning in this vertical tower farming setup? Thank you. Oh, one more thing, John Mark. Any options available to you or your company for insurance?
Okay, great questions.
Okay, you guys hear me?
Yes, we are.
Okay, thanks for that question, Jody. So, of course, it's a business, right? And of course, anything that With technology, of course, the inputs initially is higher, and then it grows with scale. So for 100 towers, you're looking at anywhere between 64 to 70,000 USD to start up, and that would somewhat include the plinths, setup for the plinths, as well as electricity, as Karen showed you in the video, and it depends on how you want to configure the setup too as well, right? You're looking at based on our ROI solely calculated on romaine lettuce alone, you're looking at anywhere between 2.8 to 3.5 years return on investment, and that is at minimum. That is, of course, using minimum figures based on our target prices for our lowest paying customer right now. So that doesn't include the high value crops like cilantro, parsley, and basils.
Weather insurance for weather events, John Mark.
I think Grace has a product for farmers now, and I think, and this is right up their alley. And we do have the insurance with them as it relates to based on where we are now and what we plan to expand into. I think there's more conversations that needs to be had, but for now, yes, insurance is available for this type of product with Grace. GK, great, yeah.
That's the Weather Protect.
Yes, that's the Weather Protect.
Okay. Does that answer it for you, Jody?
Yes, it did. I still think the minimum capital investment is high. That's about 11.9 million, unless my math was wrong. 74,000 times a rate of 162. But I guess everybody can always scale their business. But thank you for the responses. Thanks for the session. I'll allow somebody else to share.
So, Jody, just to add to that, as well. So, when we got into this business, it was either we purchase a piece of land for X amount of money or utilize the space that we already had. So we'd be finding ourselves spending the same amount of money, or probably more, to even find a piece of property to start planting. And based on our 9 to 5 jobs and commute back and forth, while having this property and utilize it in Kingston and going to work and the transit to different supermarkets really cuts costs and CO2 emissions overall. So we're able to farm in our backyard while using the same money that we'll have to be spending if we were to get a piece of land. And we're talking about as well human resources, having access to human resources and larceny and all these different things that come with, long distance travel and out of town farm properties.
Thank you so much, Kerry. I do have other questions, but I'll drop them in the chat because I don't want to take over. Thank you. So hold on, so you guys actually live there?
Yes, so this is the proof of concept, Jody, right? So the house is here, the car is here, and this is the farm. So we actually don't physically live here, but the house is right here. It is the side, it's a 1/4 acre of land, and this is what it is. This is the house. And this is your farm. So you just get up and then you just jump in your vehicle and go to work. And this represents anywhere between an acre, depending on what you're growing, to 2 acres of land to include irrigation. And just to give an overview too as well, each pump consumes about 202 Jamaican dollars per month of electricity, which brings it to a total of about, we pay a total of about 23,000 just for the pumps for the farm alone. That's the consumption. That's to include the pumps, with the pressure pumps, as well as the pumps in each individual tower. So the operational cost for electricity for the month is 25,000 Jamaican dollars.
Okay, so that was a question that we had. So you preempted that one, John Mark. So we
Yes.
can consider that one answered. Um, we have a question from Leroy. He's asking I see him having his hand raised. So I don't know if he has an additional question. But the question is, what is the capacity of the towers? He said power requirements, but I think you just answered that.
Okay, so just to give a quick overview, the power requirements is between 30 to 45 watts, and that's indicative of a LED light bulb from the smallest to the biggest pump of in terms of the capacity. So you, as Karen mentioned, the tower start from 20 to 52 holes. So you can go all the way up to a maximum of 13 pots to a minimum of 5 pots. So we have an 11 pot tower here. And we have a 9 pot tower here. So anywhere between 20 to 52 ports. So that's the capacity.
Okay. Leroy, you had another question apart from this one?
Good morning. Can you hear?
Morning.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yes, you had basically answered the two questions, but I was thinking from someone doing a backyard, well, just a small operation like 2 or 3 towers, because you might not necessarily have the space depending on where you live, So I was wondering, the pumps and the power requirements. What has he said between 20, like a light bulb, based on the wattage? That was
Yes, definitely, Leroy. So as I said, the maximum, because our pumps are between is a medium pump, and of course, as I say, it is at 202 Jamaican dollars in terms of consumption for the entire month. That's a 30-day period, right? In terms of spacing, this each tower takes up 3 square meters. So you're looking at 100 towers here, right? We specifically place them this distance apart, but this configuration may not necessarily suit you. This is based on what we were growing, which is peppers. So, for example, when we had 100 towers of peppers, which was about 1,900 plants, we had to leave enough space between where the plants would grow out as well, right? So in this said area and said space, we could fit 200 more towers, so we could increase our capacity by 200% more without having to do anything at all, but just to lay the towers, because there's already capacity for electricity, there's already capacity for irrigation. So at scale, it becomes cheaper, Jody, and for everybody who is having that in their mind, right? It's just about procuring the towers and installing them for the second or third phase of your project, really.
And I guess you provide that also, or there's a link for that for this
So
supply.
yeah, so we are the distributors of Tower Gardens in Jamaica and the Caribbean. So we, of course, we partner with Tower Garden and Agrotonomy as our major partner. So with this community as well, you're able to ask all the technical questions that we probably don't have the answer to, get additional training materials as well, and consultation based on your request and available to you. And yeah, so from a pin to an anchor, and everything that we also provide is what would hold on one sec, is enterprise, Leroy. So what you find happening is that we have a We have everything. We have lighting too as well. So everything is systemized. So you don't have to get pieces of the products and supplies that you need from other suppliers or distributor. You can get everything that you need here. Hold on 1 second. Karen wants to say something.
So Leroy, I know you asked about like if you want a 1 or 2 towers, right? So we do have residential units which are standalone units, so you don't need to have the full irrigation system set up. For a commercial setup, the minimum requirement is 10 towers to come with the irrigation system. With the residential unit now, you can grow 34 plants. So you have 16 regular sized plants and 16 smaller plants at the top. And this one comes with wheels. And then you have the one that looks just like the commercial tower that can grow 20 plants. There are provisions made if you want to grow on the inside to add lights. There are provisions if you want to add your grow cage. So we do have these standalone units available to anyone who wants to start, getting their hands wet.
Okay. Is there any particular reason why they are raised on concrete rather than placing them on the soil?
No, there's no particular reason for us, really and truly. Once they're leveled, that is good. But for us, we didn't want to, the water runs off right there. So we didn't want the dirt or the earth underneath it to get soft and cause tilting for us. So we built something permanent. We didn't want to have to be wondering every minute if it is that the tower is not straight, etc., etc. So the water runs off at this side of the land.
Awesome. All right. How customized is the nutrient feed mix made for each type of crop grown?
Well, it's not customized any at all. It is the just the complete blend of micro and macronutrients. So A and B can be used for any single plant. It's the same micro and macronutrients that is found, and you can use it for your orchard crops as well. You can use it for infield plants as well. So it is not just limited to the tower. So we don't change nutrients, and as you can see, we have about 15 different varieties growing now using the same nutrient mix. So anything that we grow, we use the same. Of the 200 varieties that we grow, we use the same nutrient mix, A and B.
Okay.
Nothing changes. And we also have a infield production too as well, that we use the nutrients to supply and water or to irrigate.
Okay. All right. So the big question here, John Mark, is you made mention of what the commercial, the 100 tower startup would look like. But there are persons
Okay.
on that would love to know, what about somebody just looking for 1 or 2 to use at home? What would that cost look like?
Okay. So, all right. So the 20 plant structure, it's for $160,000, and this is a tower kit system. It's not just a tower where you have to go shop around right after to get nutrients and everything. So in this tower kit, you have the nutrients A and B. You have a pH test kit, pH adjusters. You have a starter set of seeds, rock wool. You have your pump, your timer. So you have all these different things to get growing on the same day. And
We lost you, Kerry.
All right. So in the meantime, until Karen comes back, this is what it looks like. So the kit comes with everything here. Comes with a pump, comes with a timer, comes with the instructions as well, full manual. as well as we can come and complete the installation for you.
Okay. All right. Until Kerry comes back, John Mark, you probably could help with this. Where are you located? And how do they set up an appointment to
Okay,
come in?
so we're located in Kingston, Havendale, and we can be contacted via email at Jamaica Tower Farms at gmail.com or WhatsApp or direct call at 552-0303 or 552-0341. So we're in Kingston, Havendale, and yes, Cool Shade Drive, and you can just call us and set up the appointment direct via WhatsApp, direct call, or email.
You want to give out the numbers?
552-0341 or 552-0303.
0303. All right, so I'm putting it in the chat. 552-0303. So,
Yes.
do you have any customers willing to share their experiences?
If we have customers willing to share their experiences in terms
Right.
of, I mean,
I guess as a testimonial or review.
yeah, I guess on a per need basis right now is because you have a lot of residential customers, right?
Mhm.
So it depends on the customer.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just to ask permission. So I don't know what that sharing of information would look like or that testimonial would look like
Mm-hmm.
for that person. I don't know if because you have videos of our customer installation and stuff like that that we have posted publicly on our page, on our stories, etc.
Right.
But I don't know if that would be that is a direct contact, having a conversation type thing.
Okay. I guess the person can reach out and you can have further discussion as to what is needed here.
Yes,
Um,
definitely. I've also shared the contact information, some more like the email and so for in
mhm.
the chat.
Right. So, guys, the information is in the chat, so you can collect that. All right. Do you provide built-in anti-theft devices or measures for protection against physical removal of the towers or infrastructure?
No, that is something that has to be done independently of us, right?
Mhm.
So just we still there is still some level of vulnerability, of course, to the innovation. So it's just how you, the individual, and your property is secured. Because for us, we too also have security cameras as well as some amount of anti-theft devices surrounding the property and the farm
Mhm.
as well that would assist us in such a case.
Okay. Which is important in any type of farming. Um, what's the recommended minimum? You mentioned 100 in the beginning. Is that the recommended minimum number of towers to start a commercial operation?
No, so the
Uh,
minimum is 10, is a 10 setup. So you could get 10 7-pot, 10 9-pot, 11 13, and you can scale as you go along. So if you don't have the initial investment for 100 towers, you can start off with 10 and scale as needed.
Okay. I think this question goes back to the issue of security. Someone is asking, could dogs be allowed to roam in the tower farms?
Yes, dogs can roam. I mean, once you have your dogs trained that won't be eating your crops, then of course dogs can roam the property.
Um,
Did you hear
Siobhan,
me?
Yes, we heard you. We heard
Okay.
you. All right. Siobhan is asking, considering that the towers are primarily used for leafy greens and microgreens, based on your experience, how lucrative is the demand from restaurants, etc., for microgreens products?
So we personally don't focus on microgreens. We go based on the demand of the restaurants, which is of course
Mhm.
romaine lettuce, scallion, basil, cilantro, parsley. So those are our main crops that we focus on. And I mean it differ from farmer to farmer based on their clientele, but this is for us. So majority is romaine, scallion, and in smaller portions for the higher
Mhm.
value crops, then it's basil, cilantro, parsley.
Okay. All right. So there's a question from Janelle. She's asking, can you comment on pest management for crops grown on the towers? Do you spray them? Is there a significant reduction in pest damage given that the crops are grown on towers?
Okay, so because we're not growing on soil, I mean, the proximity, we're not really plagued with soil-borne pests, right? But we have whiteflies, aphids, that we can be susceptible to because we are in a residential area, and of course, next door is not treating their plants like they need to for no specific reason. So we do preventative maintenance using organic treatment like neem oil. So we do this on a weekly basis so that we
Mhm.
don't have an outbreak of anything. Other things that we use, there is something called Bacillus thuringiensis, and that is for the worms, which is also organic. You have also insecticidal wash, which is just potassium and fatty acids. All these things are organic, and I want to tell you that before June 2024, we were not farmers and we had zero farming experience. So
Mhm.
just to show that the ease of use of the system and learning as you go along, it's open to anyone at all. You don't have to have a green thumb. I didn't even know I had a thumb, honestly. So right now, you can um, grow everything that you want right in your own space. You know what you're putting in your food. You know how you're treating it, and literally at any point in time, you can come on our farm and eat directly off the towers because we're not using any harsh chemicals at all.
Yes. Mm, awesome. All right. So I think there is some confusion, Kerry. I'm going to try and explain it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong or right. So there is not a differentiation in terms of whether the tower can be used for commercial or your normal backyard gardening. Um, the difference is the amount of holes in each of the towers, which is what makes them different, right? It's 160,000 Jamaican dollars for one tower. But reference was made to if you wanted to do 100 tower farm, that would have been a minimum of 60,000 US dollars, right? So if somebody wants 10 towers, they would have to look at, let's say, one being the 160,000 times the 10, right? Or is there a package deal? Is there anything like that? Any type of discount based on the amount being bought?
So when there's a commercial setup, of course, when you do go higher in numbers, there's
Mhm.
a discount applied. For
Mhm.
residential units, though, there is no discount applied, and this is something that we are unable to control because this is a cost that we take on from the supplier or the manufacturer, which and
Mhm.
they don't allow for discount. But for commercial setups, in increments of 50 towers, there's a discount.
Okay. All right. So 10 towers for your home is
10 towers
what?
for your home would probably run you about 9,000 plus US dollars to include the
9.
irrigation system.
Mhm. Okay. All right. All right. Let's see. Do you sell the full range of towels shown by Kerry, and are they available for purchase now?
All right. So for
Yes.
commercial setups, those
Mhm.
are done to order. So we have to order and ship them in. For residential units, we have them readily available. So if you want to come today, I'm here and you can come and purchase it all.
Okay. All right, let's see. All right. We've answered some of these in other questions, so that's why. All right.
I just seen a quick question where if
Mhm.
it's feasible to transfer from the tower to the soil. Yes, you can transfer in the rock wool into the soil if it is that you so desire to continue growing in the soil.
Okay. What Bryson T would like to know, what would you say, in your opinion, is the top three largest fixed costs at setup?
Sorry, repeat that.
What would you say, in your opinion, is the top three largest fixed costs at setup?
Fixed costs.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I would say the mandatory um t- t- the mandatory is to ensure that you have provisions for electricity, and the next thing, of course, is to ensure that you have a good quality water system. That's three, and two, and the third one is to ensure that your surface is leveled, because if it is not leveled, you'll find that only one side of the tower will get water. So stability is important. So those three are key features of the tower system.
I think he made reference to fixed costs. So I guess that would be our monthly fixed costs would be water, electricity, and nutrients and a farmhand and the inputs, of course.
Right. Next question. Cardia Thompson would like to know, given the perishable nature of the crops being grown, the system would benefit from a chill storage if volumes or logistics demanded it. Do you have an add-on which includes solar panels and chill facility?
For us personally, no. But of course, as Karen mentioned, the nature of our business is that it's from farm to consumer. So if we're reaping the 2,200 pounds today, we're going to be doing the delivery today because we serve the community that we're from, right? So yes, we would definitely benefit from it. And
Mhm.
yes, it would be an add-on as well, because those are things that we're looking into, because in the expansion of the farm, those are things that we're going to have to invest in. And it is available out there. If you're asking me, you can do your own research. There's cold storage that comes in the form of a 20-foot container, and
Mhm.
it come ready. All you have to do is connect it to the electricity and plinths, and you're good to go. And of course, with anything, you can add solar to it. Once you have the space, whether on top of the same 20-foot container that you're purchasing or on your roof facility at your farm.
Okay. All right. So we're wrapping up. We have a few more questions, and um, Sophia would like to know, I noticed there is no overhead covering such as shade cloth. Is this not recommended?
It is recommended based on the type of crop that you're growing, and of course based on the season. So when it's um the summertime, of course, the plants that are not so much heat resilient and heat tolerant, we definitely have to get shade cloth. But the shade cloth being missing is as a result of course, Hurricane Melissa. But for now, 90% of the seeds that we choose, we try to choose them to be heat tolerant, of
Mhm.
course, and we don't necessarily need it, right? Of course, when you're looking at other varieties for example, like strawberries and spinach and stuff like that, less resilient to high temperature crops, you definitely have to look at doing it somewhere in the colder areas or colder parts of Jamaica and with shading, of course.
Okay. All right. If we use rainwater from rainwater harvesting, would we still need to use the reverse osmosis process? The reverse osmosis equipment is expensive for small scale operations. Also, NWC water rates are quite high. Is the effectiveness of the nutrients used dependent on the quality of water being pure?
I would say definitely, because as any farmer knows, and remember, we're not farmers, but I can tell you this, one thing that I've learned is that the most important thing is your water quality when it comes down to farming in any crop at all, whether in field, whether hydroponics, whether plants, vegetables, or orchard crops. So yes, water harvesting can be used, but then of course you have to manage the bacteria that is in the water, so it can't be open to feces and stuff like that, and bird droppings, etc. And of course becomes polluted, because then of course for us, what I want the general populace here to understand is that the only thing that myself or Kerrian does is to mix the nutrients on a quarterly basis and forget it. Everything else grows, so we don't have to worry about the pH levels after that. Once pH is good, everything else is perfect. So the quality of the crops that you're seeing is not managed on a daily basis. It is managed every quarter by doing our testing, one at the water station, and two at our nutrient dosing station. So if your rainwater, if you're a storage facility for your rainwater, because when the rain falls, right, it's pH neutral. So you can get it and you can test in a bucket, etc. Sometimes it may be acidic or not, but for generally, if it is falling and it's falling into the system, it doesn't affect the system any at all. The storage is where you find that it can becomes polluted or something of the sort, and there it creates an issue for the crops. So if we had rainwater harvesting was something that we were looking at, and we would have probably added a UV just a UV light to sterilize the water, which would omit the cost of course, reverse osmosis system and the salt chlorinator system as well, which is a much cheaper option, but that is something that we're looking to doing in the future. So yes, rainwater harvesting can be used, but the storage is very important, and managing that water storage facility is important.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. All right, so we're going to take the last question because we're past our time. All right, so given that the plants are in water constantly, how vulnerable are they to fungal issues?
All right. So remember in the presentation, or when I was doing the walkthrough of the farm, I said the pump is on 3 minutes and off 12 minutes. So in total, the roots are really only exposed to water 4.8 hours of the entire day. So with hydroponic system, you do have the roots suspended in water constantly, but with aeroponics and with our system, there is a balance of air and water. So we don't have fungal issues because it's not in water constantly.
Right. Yes, I remember that part. All right, thank you so much, Carrie and John Mark. Are there any final words that you'll have for audience before we wrap up?
Well, if there is really more that you need to learn about the farm, or you want to know about the farm, we are always here to educate and train, and you have access to information through us. So feel free to reach out to us, and we can answer more questions if you'd like. And another thing is that on our farm, it's really just three of us, just to show that we can operate a 1 acre, 2 acre farm with just us alone. And John Mark and I are not here every day. So it's really just one farmhand that is responsible. And in this space, we can add 200 more units, and it still would only be one farmhand that would be responsible for that amount of tours.
Yeah, I'm definitely coming to get my tour, Carrie.
No problem.
So I'm
No problem.
sure quite a few people are intrigued. They are saying very useful information and they're giving you thanks in the chat. So you can just soak up some of that. You did an awesome
You're
job.
welcome, and thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. I mean, last words from me is that, I mean, farming is the oldest occupation in from the biblical days, right? And we have to get it right. Nothing is straightforward. So I know a lot of persons are concerned, especially about the economic part of innovation in farming. But if you do, I think people should be out there doing more research into this to understand from the North American perspective, Netherlands, etc. The cost is equal to the inputs here as well in Jamaica. You understand what I'm saying? If you're building farm resilience, because right now what we're looking at doing is we have to, seeing that we're in the hurricane belt in our next phase and expansion of our farm, we have to be resilient up to now a category 5 hurricane. Of course, it's going to be more expensive because in our previous proposal before this, we only tapped out at a category 3. And now that we experience, Melissa, and see that, of course, the seasons are going to become more active and it's longer and stuff like that, we upgraded for category 5 and we did our business case. And of course, the cost went up significant. So nothing is, we're not withstanding costs of anything because it's just like a vehicle, it's just like your phone. If you want a phone with a particular operating system, you're going to need a S version versus an A version if we're talking about Samsung. You understand what I'm saying? Just to give you that metaphor and comparison. So to make it for us, what it means and requires is that now me going and expanding into livestock and stuff like that, I'm going to go with about 5,000 square meter facility that is built out of steel, indoor, outdoor, and is fully solar. You understand what I'm saying? Which at the press of a button, everything is locked down, and we're at a category 5 resilience after the hurricane passes. We press the button and everything opens up, the sides open up, and we take out the towers, and whatever is outside for the infield crops, the orchard crops, they're outside, and whatever can stay inside, whether for the livestock, which would include poultry, small ruminants, large ruminants, cows, whatever it is, would be inside that indoor outdoor facility type setup. Because there's really nothing much you can do.
Yes. Yes. All right. So responding to Antonil, yes, the replay will be uploaded to the Agro-Invest YouTube channel. So you can look out for that. All right. Thank you so much again, John Mark and Kerry, on behalf of Agro-Invest and everyone here that's a part of the audience. Want to take this time to thank you so much for taking the time. I'm going to emphasize the time because you also made the effort to actually bring us around your farm. And we do appreciate that visual and, the detailed explanation and just being patient with us with all the questions. I'm sure everybody here was enlightened and you would have added some value and provided answers to the questions that, many of us would have been asking as it relates to the towers. So when I take this opportunity, thank you so much for taking the time out to be a part of this webinar, making such a great presentation. And I'm sure I'm going to call you, and I'm sure so many other persons are going to call you up with more questions and, interest in purchasing. So do enjoy the rest of your day. On behalf of myself, the team here at Agro-Invest, thank you, and all the best for the rest of the day.
Thank you,
Thank
and
you
have a
very
good
much,
rest of
guys.
the day, everyone.
Right,
Yes.
and thank you everyone for joining. Do enjoy the rest of your day. We'll talk. Bye.
Bye.